Hey everyone, it's Late Night here, and let's talk about the last 3 chapters of One Piece. I've been slacking on the chapter review videos. I actually had chapters 1080 through 1081 already reviewed and recorded, but because chapter 1082 just came out, let's just do all 3 of them at once and have some fun. And kind of what my favorite thing about reviewing 3 chapters at once is I can just cover the really cool parts of the chapters and excuse and ignore all of the boring stuff that's happened or all the exposition that we don't really care about. So speaking of that, let's start with chapter 1080. And boy does it feel good to say this, but I can skip a lot of this chapter and just talk about literally like 3 things. So Kobe escaped from Blackbeard's island, of the pirate island, and he's on the run, and he is just kind of running around causing a scene and saving a lot of the prisoners. Then we also get introduced to Blackbeard's Titanic crew, and we get to see a lot of them with new devil fruit abilities. And let's just go over a couple of them just for fun. So we have Vasco shot with the Glug Glug fruit. He is a drunk man. I'm honestly not sure if this is a Paramecia or a Logia, but I'm leaning towards a Paramecia type fruit. We also have San Juan Wolf, who ate the giant fruit, which is already kind of confusing because I thought he was a giant, so now he has a fruit that maybe either doubles his size or does some kind of giant type properties, but I'm very interested to see how this fruit's going to work with him. And then we got something really fucking stupid. We have the corrupt king of Vilo, Pizarro, with the island fruit. What the fuck does that mean? So all I can think about is Pika, so he had the stone fruit, but at least he was able to become stone, and it's like a tangible thing. Stone is only in certain places, so the fruit only works in certain situations. But with King of Vilo, we have the island fruit. And technically every land mass, if you think about it, is a big island. And where is the limitation? Because every land mass is technically an island if you really think about it, but what does that mean? Can he move through any land mass? I'm very interested to see how that all plays out. Then we get introductions to Sword. So Kobe is part of Sword, and Blackbeard tried to negotiate Kobe to get some kind of power or something from the military, but Aokiji was like saying, hey, no, you cannot use Kobe because he's part of Sword, which is unaffiliated with the Marines. And then we get to see a really cool introduction with all these different Marine captains showing up who are admirals for Sword. And then the best part of this chapter is we see the man, the myth, the legend, Garp descend onto Pirate Island. He hits the plaza with a Conqueror's coded Galaxy Impact. If people were somehow doubting if Garp had Conqueror's Haki, this chapter confirms it in an amazing way, because Garp really is that guy. He fought with Gold Roger and he was a hero for the Marines, so it makes sense that he has Conqueror's Haki and has the advanced coding mechanic of Conqueror's Haki, so he stands with Kaido, Luffy, and all the other emperors. That just makes sense. And this attack has got me thinking of how strong Garp really is in the verse of One Piece, because that Galaxy Impact is one of the most impressive Conqueror's Haki feats that we have seen in the series thus far. He destroyed an entire plaza, and to be fair, Garp is still an active Marine, so him fighting and having this whole legacy of all his accomplishments just makes sense that he would be one of the strongest people in the verse right now. And to be fair, I think he is stronger than Silver's Rayleigh, because Silver's Rayleigh backed down against Blackbeard, while Garp isn't. And I just think it comes down to the fact that Silver's Rayleigh isn't fighting at all. He doesn't really fight. He sits and chills at Saboti Archipelago, while Garp is actually on the move hunting pirates and is still actively fighting for the Marines. So it just makes more sense that his skills are sharper. And also, he was directly competing with Roger. So in that canonical sense, it would make sense that Garp is Roger level, and maybe a little bit weaker, but I would not put him out of top 10. And he definitely proves it in chapter 1081. So with chapter 1081, we see Garp descend into the plaza, and just when he's about to save Kobe, one of Kobe's sword counterparts gets frozen, and out of nowhere pops up Aokiji. And he is now the 10th captain of the Blackbeard Pirates, which is honestly pretty cool to see that he is that far invested in Blackbeard, and now he's a vital part of Blackbeard's crew. And in the midst of this, we get to see backstory, which is fantastic to see, to flesh out Kuzan's character, and we get to see how Kuzan became part of Blackbeard's crew. So this takes place 2 years ago after Akainu and Aokiji had their duel, and Aokiji is just on some random island getting drunk when Blackbeard pirates descend, and Aokiji just freezes Sand Wolf just because he's annoyed and he's in a bad mood, and Blackbeard comes into the bar saying, hey, like, unfreeze my men, you better do it, I can't break him out with my earthquake fruit without killing them. And Kuzan's like, if you want to fight, like, I'm in a very bad mood, so let's get into it. But then, in typical One Piece fashion, they just hang out at a bar, get drunk, and Aokiji unfreezes everyone. And they start just talking about life, and Aokiji starts talking about his fight with Akainu, and talks about how he lost his leg and some jokes that Akainu said to him. But it's pretty cool to see Aokiji just really chill and casual about what happened. And then the Blackbeard pirates are like, hey Kuzan, do you know about a guy who was marked by flames? There are 4 road poneglyphs. Kaido and Big Mom have 1 each, and that means 2 of them are up for grabs. We don't know where 1 is, but we know that another one is being held by the man marked by flames. And this weird rumor is brought up that the man marked by flames can be found on a pitch black ship, but if anyone sails near him, they get washed up in a whirlpool. So it might be a fruit power, but whenever we talked about the man marked by flames, I automatically think of Jaguar D. Salt, because in one of the flashbacks from a couple chapters ago, we see that Jaguar D. Salt is alive and well, and he's covered in bandages, but he's not on a ship. From the look of it, it looks like he's just on an island, but he's a man marked by flames. And then another person that people are thinking is Gabon from Gold Roger's crew, just because we haven't seen Gabon in so many years, and it would make sense that he is guarding the last poneglyph because he is part of the King of the Pirates and he doesn't want all these other pirates to find the One Piece, especially the ones that aren't deserving like Blackbeard. And Aokiji says, I don't really know anything about it. The poneglyphs have a bad memory for me because of what happened in Ohara. And if there was any chance of me seeing a poneglyph, it would have been there, but I didn't see any poneglyph on Ohara. And one of the Blackbeard crewmates makes a comment to Blackbeard saying, hey, maybe we should steal Kuzan's power. And Kuzan's like, you bastards, I heard what you said, let's get into a fight. And Blackbeard's just like, no, my pals are being idiots, please, let's like not do it. And then he says, hey, why don't you just join my crew? And Kuzan's just like, why would I join you guys? And Blackbeard's just like, no. You have a misunderstanding of what pirates really are. My crew, none of us are friends. We just have a common goal, and that's why we're bonding together. That's what pirates are. We just share a goal, but we don't really care for each other. And he says, fly under my flag, Aokiji, and you can be free and do whatever you want to do. Which definitely strengthens a lot of the theories that people had that Aokiji is just a spy or working with sword, because he's not really even bonded to Blackbeard. He is just there to do whatever he wants and to fly under their flag, so he has some protection from the military in case the Marines try to come and get him. So Aokiji is just working as his own agent, and it goes back to a theory video I made a couple months ago. If you haven't seen it, check it out on my channel. But it's just Aokiji is working for the Marines and is feeding them intel and is working to take down Blackbeard. That's what I think, and it makes a lot more sense with Blackbeard just like, yeah, none of us are friends, we just do this because we have common interests and we can work together to get there. Then we see Kuzan versus Garp, and this is why Garp is literally that guy. He grabs Kuzan by the face and uses a second named attack we've seen thus far. First was Shanks' Grand Departure, now we see Garp using a named attack with Blue Hole, and he just yeets Aokiji into the ground, and it's fucking hype as hell. And what's really cool is I didn't know that Aokiji was a former pupil of Garp's, so it seems that Kobe and Aokiji share the same mentor. But then cutting away to the Law versus Blackbeard fight, we see that Blackbeard has taken the dub and has destroyed Law's submarine. So it seems that Law is out of the race for being Pirate King as well. And to be honest, I love this so much, because if Kid was the only one to get defeated by an Emperor, it would be really sad, just because Kid is such a cool character. I really like Kid. And to see him go out like this is super sad and disheartening for the story of One Piece, just because I wanted Kid, Law, and Luffy to fight in the very end for the One Piece. So if Kid was the only one to get knocked out, it would be super underwhelming. But Law getting knocked out makes so much sense because he's not ready to take on Blackbeard, and it just shows the level that the Emperors are at. And just because Law and Kid were able to team up and beat Big Mom doesn't mean they can actually take on Emperor. They're not at that level yet. And to be fair, they barely won against Big Mom, and is honestly due to Law's hacked ability where he was able to nullify Big Mom. So this is pretty great that both these superpowers are knocked out, and how I hope they come back into the story is they work together. I don't want them to work for Luffy, but I think Law and Kid on a team and as a joint pirate crew would be really great, and they settle their differences and be like, okay, we will split the One Piece and both of us will become Pirate King, just because we can't make it alone. We need each other and we've worked really well together. So that's a great way to reinsert them back into the story, and I would love to see that happen. So going back to Blackbeard, he tells Law that a lot of the people you stole hearts from at the Rocky Port incident are still alive and well, and if I take you to them, you know, they'd be thrilled and they'd kill you. Or could you use the Yopi Yopi no Mi and make me immortal? So that's like Blackbeard's really endgame. And out of nowhere, Beppo has taken a rumble ball from Chopper, and they've talked a little bit about the effects and what would happen. Beppo pops that sucker in and hits full-on Sulong mode, turns into a giant panda, and knocks Blackbeard and Van Arger away and grabs Law and dives into the ocean. And Law's just like, hey, we gotta go back and save the rest of the crew. But Beppo's just like, no, Captain, you're about to die. I need to take you and save you and get you some medical attention. So he drifts off into the ocean, and that's how chapter 1081 ends. Honestly, a very good chapter, and a lot of great stuff has happened between Garp versus Aokiji and now Law's defeat. But let's talk about chapter 1082 now. So I want to preface that this chapter is one of my favorite chapters I've read, and that's saying something with all the 5 banger chapters we just got in a row. But this chapter just got me so fucking hyped, so let's fucking get into it. So I want to first start off by taking a moment of silence for our boy T-Bone. You know, take your hats off for my boy T-Bone. Let's take 5 seconds right here. Alright, we have more T-Bone. He has died. The cross guild that Buggy set up has really been fucking the Marines. So what happened was T-Bone was defending a country, and one of the poor people stabbed T-Bone in the back, killed him, and turned him into Buggy and got some monetary rewards. And to be fair, it was really sad, just because the guy who turned in T-Bone was this really old and poor dude, and he was like saying, I live in poverty, so the money I get I can give to my starving family. I'd rather me go to jail or me go to hell than see my family starving anymore. So it's actually a very sad spot to be in, and the Marines really haven't been doing anything to help a lot of these poor countries. So T-Bone kind of was a necessary sacrifice, and it just shows that the Marines are now getting hunted, and now Buggy is of more importance. And Buggy offers this poor man a spot in his crew. He's just like, no, you're a pirate now. And all Buggy's pirates are like, nah, let's celebrate your kill and let's have a party. And they're just kind of hoisting the old man up. And then out of nowhere, some shipwright comes and says, hey, we have finished your Buggy ship. Like, this is a ship worthy of an emperor, and it is one of the most disgusting looking ships I've ever seen. I mean, besides the head mount's really the worst part of it. It's not a bad looking ship, but it's a buggy like oriented ship with the head mount, and it's really funny because you see Mihawk and Crocodile in the background being like, you expect us to use this thing? He's like, let's go to the meeting room, we got to talk. And of course, Mihawk and Crocodile are like the main forces behind this whole cross guild, and Buggy's just beat up in a really big comic relief. And Crocodile's like saying, so public awareness of cross guild is growing as planned, and the Navy's starting to understand the threat we pose. He then reveals that the main goal is they want to become a utopia, and they want to be recognized as a strong military state. And before that, they need to build up their military power and money. So Mihawk and Crocodile want to become a country and, like, you know, be the governors of their own land so the Marines can respect them and not hunt them down. The best thing, honestly, I never thought I would like Buggy this much, but Buggy is literally the peak, the goat of One Piece. And he says, Crocodile, Mihawk, I know I might be speaking out of turn, but if we want wealth, why don't we just take everything? How can you call yourselves pirates when you're just scheming and trying to build up little fortunes and become a military state? You're doing it all backwards. Like, you must have heard Red Hair is making his move, and we used to be on the Pirate King crew together. Back when we used to sail together, Shanks had so much potential. But after Roger got executed, and he asked Shanks, are you going to go after the One Piece? Shanks said, I'm not ready for it yet, and I've changed my mind. And at that moment, Buggy was like, I seriously misjudged Shanks. I thought he was going to be the next king, but if he's not going to follow in Roger's footsteps, I'm not going to idolize him anymore, and that's why he started his own crew. And now he's telling Mihawk and Crocodile, he's like, that no good Shanks is finally making his move, but what good is it now? I have equal footing with Shanks, so why let him get the One Piece? Like, we need to go after the One Piece. I want to be king of the pirates, and I want to have everything. If we're going to be pirates, we should take everything, not just settle for a little bit of wealth here and there. And Crocodile and Mihawk are just like saying, you're not going to become pirate kings. We're not going to do everything and listen to you, and then you take the mantle of pirate king. Buggy's just saying, we don't need to fight Straw Hat, we don't need to fight Shanks, we don't need to fight Blackbeard. It's just a race. It's a scramble to the One Piece. So if we get there first, then we are golden and we are all the pirate kings and we have attained everything the world has to offer. And Crocodile and Mihawk are definitely not a part of this plan. They're definitely not on board with this. But before they can do anything, Buggy radios and uses a Dendenmushi and talks to his whole crew and says, hey, it's time for us to finally go and claim the One Piece. And he rallies his crew to think that he's going to become the king of the pirates. And in doing so, now all of their military might is with Buggy. And if Crocodile and Mihawk stand against them, they're going to lose this whole armada they built. And part of their plan is they need military might to become their own faction and their own government identity, essentially. So now Crocodile and Mihawk have no choice but to go along with Buggy's ridiculous plan and go after the One Piece. And to be fair, this poses a lot of questions for the story and where it's going to go, just because I didn't think Crocodile and Mihawk would really fight for the title of Pirate King. And now it just seems like it's going to escalate the story and finish it a little bit faster, mainly with Mihawk versus Zoro, because if Mihawk is now going after the One Piece, will he fight Zoro on Raftel? And to be honest, I really don't want that to happen because I feel like it'd rush the story, and there's other elements with Crocodile fighting someone else from the Straw Hat or someone from Blackbeard's crew, and I feel like this would just rush everything. But going back to Zoro versus Mihawk, I hope they get to have the race for the One Piece. They don't really necessarily need to fight there, and Mihawk's just like, okay, now that the Pirate King issue is settled, Zoro, meet me at this island. We will settle who's the world's strongest swordsman now. You have now gotten all of your experience needed to take me on. Because quite frankly, Zoro's not ready for Mihawk, and he's still got to fight Shiru and maybe someone else from Shanks' crew before he's ready to fight Mihawk. And if he has to fight Mihawk on Raftel with Blackbeard's pirates, I just don't think Zoro stands a chance of winning against Mihawk. So I don't really know how I feel about Oda making them go after the One Piece. I think it's hype as hell on one side, but I feel like it might rush some of the other fights, and maybe Crocodile's reintroduction to the Straw Hats, I feel like it might rush it, but trust Oda can make a satisfying conclusion and bring everything full circle. And then now for our last cutaway, we go back to Kambaka Kingdom on the Grand Line, which is where Dragon and the Revolutionaries are, and we see all the vice admirals for the Revolutionary Army and all the generals they serve under. And Sabo somehow miraculously comes back from Aleutian, the island that was destroyed by Emo. And to be fair, I am very confused as to how Sabo looks like he's all in one piece. He said that we got a Aleutian ship, so that's how we got out of that area before Emo blew it up. But to be fair, when I was reading this, my initial thoughts was Sabo was not Sabo, maybe a government spy or someone in disguise, but it seems like this is the real Sabo, and he miraculously got away from Emu's blast, which I have no idea how he beat the speed of light descending upon his island. He sits down with Dragon and Ivanko and says, I need to tell you about what really happened at the Holy Land of Marijuana. And that's how the chapter ends. So, I really don't know what Sabo's going to say, but I've been waiting to hear this for so long, and I really hope that Oda doesn't change in chapter 1083 and goes to someone else, but I really hope we get to figure out what actually happened at Marijuana, and I want to see how Sabo lived and what he found out at Marijuana. So chapter 1082 provided amazing Buggy content, as well as adding to Sabo's story and what really happened at Marijuana. But my favorite thing about the chapter is that Buggy is back in the race and actually cemented himself as a candidate for the One Piece and has a actual strong chance of getting it. And I would love if Oda actually made Buggy the Pirate King. To be fair, I love Luffy and everything, but his dream is beyond the Pirate King. Like, he even said that, like, once I get Pirate King, then I can get my real dream. So maybe we can have something where Buggy becomes Pirate King and Luffy gets his real dream or whatever afterwards. But I think it would be the greatest troll and, like, one of the biggest plot twists in a long-running anime shonen series to see Buggy actually achieve their dream and the main character not. But I would love it. I would love to see it. And then we get the cool Sabo stuff and what actually happened at Marajawak, just because we have been in the dark of what happened there at the Reverie for so long. So we need to know exactly what's going on. But amazing 3-chapter run, so much lore, so much history, and so much fighting. It's just insane. Oda is in his bag. 1079 through 1082 has just been incredible run. But I want to hear what you guys thought about the chapters in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.